was May. I think it was May 92.
Initially, the soldiers came round that day and with guns, and there was tanks on the main roads, and they said all the men come outside and go on the main road. They said you'll be questioned.
My dad and my brother went. My mum was screaming and crying.
I was going to go out as well because I was 16 at the time, and my mum said, "No, you stay home."
When you hear gunshots, you don't think, what happened? You know they're up there, but you think they've been killed. And then later on you hear it was one of your neighbours that was killed, a guy who was just a few years older than me.
And so did his family, and they had to go collect the bodies. It's just really starting to sort of be hard to talk about because I'm still seeing those things as well. We just didn't know what was going to happen with my brother and my dad. And we also stayed a few nights sort of around people's houses, just groups of us, number of families together in one house rather than alone, because you know they can come around, kill you, and it just felt a bit safer, just being with a group of people, thinking, well, they're surely not going to come and kill all of us, even though that's what they were doing. We eventually found out where they were taken, and it was the concentration camp in Keraton, which I think was a factory before. After that first camp, we heard that my dad was taken to the second camp, which was Omarska.
And we heard of all the killings that went on in that camp, and you think, well, they've taken him there to kill him. Simple as that. To me, there was no other explanation. He was going to be killed, and I thought I wasn't going to have my dad. Yeah.
Then we heard a while later that my dad was taken to a third camp, which is called Mancha. You hope that they're on Red Cross register. Hopefully they won't kill him now. And so it was a bit better. My brother was taken to a different concentration camp, which is Ternopil, and I'd say it was a bit more relaxed in a way that there wasn't as many killings in that camp, and I mean, the stories we heard from that camp weren't even coming close to the stories we heard about the Omarska camp, which is the second one that my dad went to. Then he was asked to sign off everything he owned in order to be released. They were allowed to leave as long as they agreed to leave for third country, as in they were released to Croatia, but they had to leave. They weren't allowed basically to stay in Croatia or come back to Bosnia. They had to go to a third country. And my dad was one of those people that was picked to go to come and live in UK. I think it was soon after he was released. And I remember I was sleeping in one room. There was two big bangs that went one after the other. It was, I'd say, within seconds perhaps. One of the neighbors, he was a Serb, and he was in Serbian army, and he was home at the time. So he came and said, "Don't worry, I'll go and see what has happened." He came back and he said, "The mosque has been destroyed." It's a bad thing to say, but it was a relief. Buildings can be rebuilt, lives can't. But it was helpful that there was still someone who wanted to help. Now, for all I know, he could have done things in other cities. He could have been a war criminal to other people. To me, he wasn't. To me, he was a friend. They were not all the same, even though they were in the same army. They weren't all the same. If they were, my dad always said, we'd all be dead. They had the weapons to do it. We left Bosnia on 2nd of December 1993, and the snow was about a meter high, 3 feet high. And we were taken to the airport, got on a plane, don't really remember how the flight went. And then we were coming above UK, and as soon as it started going down, I thought, wow, everything's green, where is the snow? And that's the first time sort of it hit me what the weather in UK is about. Yes, it happened, and people think, oh, it's fine now. Well, to me, the only thing that's happened, there's no concentration camps, and the war has stopped. Still division exists, the country is divided. My town is in part that's occupied by Serbs. I see it as occupied because they rule. I remember the first time when I went to visit, I my home was still occupied. There was, you know, a family from another side of another part of Bosnia, and that was again a weird feeling. You know, you can't go to your home that your dad's built, and you know, from the ground up. You know, I was a victim of all this. I was an innocent person, and there are people who are victims of crime innocently. You know, walking on the street, get beaten up, and it is helpful when you got someone to understand where you're coming from and to say, I understand you, I'm here to try and help you, I'm here to listen to you. It means a lot. Sometimes you might not be able to change anything, but at least if I know that at least you understand and you are in a way on my side, even though you're not able to change anything physically, you are on my side, and I know, okay, there is hope. Not everyone's the same.